In tonight's Tax Insider, a path forward for the U.S. Postal Service. This holiday season, it reported another staggering loss, $5.1 billion for fiscal year 2015. It's not an unusual sum. The Postal Service has had more than $52 billion in mounting financial debt since 2007, and Congress has failed to do anything about it. For more, I'm joined by David Williams, president of the nonpartisan Taxpayers Protection Alliance. Dave, let's start with all that debt. Why is the Postal Service losing so much money?
Well, Morris, first of all, happy holidays.
Thank you.
And now let's really get into the Postal Service and why they're losing so much money. It's twofold. It's the Postal Service's fault, but it's also Congress's fault. First of all, let's look at the Postal Service, is that they are not changing with the times. They are losing billions of dollars a year. And you mentioned $52 billion since 2007. This is a lot of money, and this will be paid for by taxpayers if the Postal Service ever goes belly up. And they're not doing simple things. By going to 5-day mail delivery, that would save $2 billion a year. That is a lot of money to save by just stop delivering mail on Saturday, going to 5-day delivery. And then you have other reforms that they should be doing. But Congress has a really critical role in this, is because they're not allowing the Postal Service to do this. And back in 2006, they said to the Postal Service, you have to pre-fund your health care and retirement for 75 years in a 15-year span.
That's the biggest problem.
It really is. So it's costing them $5 billion a year just to pre-fund those retirement benefits. So as I said, this is a Postal Service problem, but it's also a congressional problem, and Congress needs to really do something about this immediately.
That whole retirement thing has been the elephant in the room for years. Congress won't touch it. We'll explain why in a second. You want the Postal Service to get back to its original mission of delivering the mail. In fact, that's the focus of your holiday-themed video this year. Let's take a look.
Sending the mail used to be simple, but now the Postal Service is making it really hard. They made an exclusive deal with Amazon to deliver groceries overnight. They're losing money and making big promises. And now they're delivering packages in big cities 7 days a week. Thousands of Postal Service trucks are breaking down, but with billions of dollars of debt, the agency has no way to pay for it, or everything else they're trying to do. Perhaps the Postal Service should stop cutting mail services in favor of these other costly things, and stick to what we really need them to do: deliver our letters.
Best video ever. I love that voiceover talent.
That poor girl, I mean, she's not getting her letters. How can you not sympathize with that?
I totally agree. Now, the USPS vehicles play a central role here. Tell us more about that.
So the fleet is aging, their vehicle fleet is aging, and they need to buy new vehicles. Now, Morris, I don't know if you've noticed in your neighborhood, but in my neighborhood, some of the postal employees are delivering mail out of U-Haul and rental trucks. So the trucks, they need new vehicles. So here's what they want to do, is they want to buy purpose-built vehicles, which means basically a vehicle specifically built for the Postal Service, which will cost about $6.3 billion. Now, if they do something differently, just a little bit differently, if they buy off-the-shelf vehicles, they can save $2 billion over 24 years in maintenance cost and fleet, the maintenance of the fleet. So this is easy, Morris, is they don't have to spend the $6.3 billion. They can spend $2 billion less and get new trucks and really deliver the mandate of being able to deliver the mail.
Let them show up like the good humor man. Ring a little bell and everybody come and flock around the postal truck to get their mail. Think about it, ice cream and mail.
Not a bad idea.
Now, the size of the U.S. Postal Service might surprise some people. Here's part of a recent op-ed published on your website. The U.S. Postal Service had a $67.8 billion annual operating budget during the last fiscal year. They are second only to Walmart in total employees, second to McDonald's in total real estate. Dave, but Walmart and McDonald's are private companies. You argue it's time to fill out the Postal Service Board of Governors and hold them accountable. Why?
Well, absolutely. And leadership starts at the top. If you're McDonald's, if you're Walmart, it starts with the board of directors. With the Postal Service, it starts with the board of governors. They have 6 vacancies. So they have a lot of vacancy on the board of governors. And that's why there's no leadership. There's no one there to really take the reins of the Postal Service. And we want people to go into the board of governors that have private sector experience so they know how to cut costs. They know what to do, not just some government hack that goes in there and keeps business as usual. But this is where it all begins, really, is the leadership with the Board of Governors.
Now let's get back to Congress. We talked about them briefly a second ago. Why can't lawmakers hold the Postal Service accountable, let alone why aren't the lawmakers accountable? Answer, I know ahead of time, their constituents in all these various areas, they're taking care of their own voters.
And I think they're afraid.
Yeah.
They're afraid to cut the delivery down to 5 days because they think there's going to be outrage. I mean, there will be outrage, but people will get used to it. And there's not a lot of leadership in Congress. I mean, we spend most of the year debating budgets, appropriations bills at the last minute, so they don't talk about a lot of the important issues. And next year, Morris, they're going to be in session. Congress will be in session for 111 days. They're taking 6 to 7 weeks off in the summer, so they're not going to be in D.C. a lot, which I guess is a good thing on one hand. But they really need to be in D.C. and fix the Postal Service and fix a lot of other things that are happening.
Dave, we're out of time. Before we go, real quick, your New Year's resolutions.
Yes, Congress, we want them to get back to regular order. No legislating by crisis, no legislating by deadline. They need to get their act together, and this is our biggest New Year's resolution for Congress next year.
All right, good luck. Maybe something about when hell freezes over, but no, we'll be optimistic. Dave Williams, President of the nonpartisan Taxpayers Protection Alliance. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.